question. I will try to answer right now. Let's check the wiki first. Aha, mesh bed leveling. Alright, this looks relatively straightforward. First, let's home all. All right, check. Before we go on, I feel like we can automate some of this process. Looks like I'm still having some lag issues here and there with the network, or my router needs to restart, I don't know. Oh, let's create a macro. Mesh level. So Unapply any existing. Oh my gosh, you can't type mesh. Out of a bit of an odd angle.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
All right. How are you?
Oh, not bad. Just setting up a mesh macro here.
Okay.
Based on Josh's work. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see if it works.
All righty then. So I made an adjustment and another print.
Oh.
That's not good.
Oh, it's not that it's not good. It's just this is incredibly slow.
Oh, for the sensor
Yeah.
part?
Yeah, wonder if I can cancel this. Maybe if I do an emergency stop.
You can. What's the probe speed? Because you don't want to probe too fast.
Well, no, but I don't have to go so high to probe, though.
Oh, what's your probe? What kind of height change?
I just dropped the code directly in off of some stuff that Josh had typed up. So let me see what he's got here.
Well, he's got some assumptions, I think, that the bed may not be so far off.
I don't even see where you define the probe height or the probe speed.
What's the? I can't see it. You've only got it's.
Hold on. Yeah, it's just basically it defines the grid, but I don't unless. Let me look up how this M5557 thing
Well,
works.
you've got it's the G29 thing that you're doing a 6x6, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I've always done is odd number probe, so you end up with one in the center.
I don't care that badly about it. I mean, unless I want to completely, I don't know. I'll think about it. I'd have to completely change the entire probe pattern. But that's not what I'm worried about right this second. Huh. Looks like some of this is set up in somewhere that, like, I don't see anything about setting probe heights or speeds or anything.
Got it. Good. Well, I'm on the RepRap wiki trying to find something about. Is that your height map?
Yeah, it seems kind of twisted, eh?
Seems like you've got a little bit of a twist to the bed.
I wonder why. Hmm.
Well, I mean, maybe. What's the total variation?
Maximum deviation is about 0.4 millimeters.
Okay, so this is really exaggerated, right? If your maximum deviation is 0.4,
Right.
that's like 2 layer heights. That's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible.
I'm just trying to puzzle out in my mind why this would be twisted like this.
Well, considering where the 0, 0 is, right? Your origin is the lowest point. And you're doing physical contact, so it's not, just for giggles, change the bed plate and try it again. Use your other bed plate. Because you got the build tack on there now, right?
True. As far as that goes, I could just probe the aluminum plate just to see what happens with no.
Yeah, you can do that. I'm trying to see if there's anything that defines your probe speed. I know in Marlin you can define it, and Clipper you can define it, but I don't know about. I'm still learning about riprap.
Wow. From my angle, this bed is so reflective. Like I can see a perfect image of the head moving around.
Good. It's supposed to.
Yeah, I mean it's like really perfect mirror. All right. So you system. Oh, it's not. And if I make it 7 points, that's going to be a lot of points.
Yeah, I mean, you could make it. Well, okay, 7 points. You could also make it 5. You could make it 3.
Who's going to make it less?
What?
So who wants to make it less?
You could make it 21. Okay, so an M558 sets up your Z probe. So you probably have it in your definition, in your config file, and that's going to have your probe speed and things like that. So like your dive height, full speed between the probe points, maximum number of times to probe each point, turn off all heaters during probing moves. So if you take a look at are you probably looking at 5.5?
I'm looking at the RepRap wiki right now.
Yeah, so 558 defines your probe speed.
Alright, I don't know if this will work the way I want it to, but we'll try it. What I did is, at the beginning of the mesh, I tell it to, change the, parameter for the dive height, and then I put it back at the end, because I don't really want to mess with, like, other things. But during the mesh compensation, you should have already trimmed, so you don't need to, or shouldn't need to,
Worry so much about.
yeah, so I just put it at 2 millimeters, although I feel it, huh?
What's the current dive height?
5.
Oh, okay. And you got your probe speed too?
I didn't change the probe speed,
Okay.
but I should be cutting the time down significantly with changing the height.
Okay.
In fact, I don't even think it needs to be 2. I really think it could probably be 1. What do you think? Is that too little?
Well, as long as your beds are reasonably flat, you should.
Well, I mean, it should be after a tram move. So after this, I'll have to remesh anyway after I put the plate back on.
Yeah, but this will give you an idea.
Right.
But if you're seeing a variation of 0.4, that would explain your first. That looks almost exactly like the previous one.
Yeah, it's a little smoother.
Is that 7 points?
Yes.
Okay.
And the maximum deviation did go down.
Okay.
Yeah, so the maximum deviation is 0.313 millimeters.
Okay. And your travel speed's the same?
Yeah, I didn't change the travel speed, just the number of points.
Okay. But yeah, I mean that doesn't look. It looks like you've got a little bit of a twist to your bed. So you're tramming it at the 3 corners. They're the center of the back, and then each of the other 2 points.
Yeah, the center line is pretty much straight, right down the middle.
Yep.
And so I think it'd be looking at this. So it looks like the tram is flattened it out, but for some reason there's a small twist to the plate.
Yeah, the plate is twisted from the front to the back. It's got a bit of a twist to it. Okay, well, that's what mesh compensation is for. So, yeah. I mean, one of the things you can, and because you don't have to do your mesh all the time, right? You have to do it between each. Put your bud plate on there. Yeah, I mean, you saw H2B did a 21-point bed mesh, which probably took half an hour to do. So
well, half an hour?
It took a little while.
Why the heck would it take that long for 21 points? I just did 49 points.
No. Put the screws in at the back of the bed. Those back 2 holes are designed for a button head screw. And that way that keeps your bed plate aligned.
I keep it aligned with the edges of the bed.
Just from a standpoint, if you're approaching it from the front of the machine.
Yeah, but that's not the front of the machine for me. I've decided that the side is the front of the machine for me.
Okay, are you going to put your plate on, or your sheet?
What are you talking about? Just put it on.
Oh, okay. No, I meant from the acrylic on the side.
Oh, eventually.
Okay. So you've got the new.
I'll have to make it a door though.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean this is open right now. I've only got two sides on, but I'm gonna do something for the quote unquote front of the machine. But to me, the front is way too obstructed to be a front.
Oh, with all the tools.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff to try to get around in order to, you know, I
Not
don't know.
wrong.
So to me it makes a whole lot more sense to access the machine from one of the sides.
Okay.
And so I've decided in my mind that the side that's facing out right now, the side that I'm over here, basically, is the front.
So you're gonna run a home all now, and with the shorter dive height.
I was gonna run a home Z. I
Yeah.
guess I can home all. Why not? Oh, that's gonna get really close to the camera.
Bonk.
I think it missed it, didn't it?
It did.
Not by much.
Not by much. It is an interesting view. It'd be great, almost to the point where I'd be like, can we mount a camera on the carriage?
I would like to, but I haven't figured out how to do that. And I don't know why, but for some reason Z is not homing. What could it possibly be waiting for? That's odd.
Give it a timeout.
It's just sitting here swirling like it's supposed to be doing something, but it's not. Let's try it again. Probably should make the tramming less as well. Whoa, why is it buzzing?
I don't know.
Sounds oddly loud. Something's vibrating. Hmm. That was... Yeah, what the heck is that about?
Oh, I don't know. Did it just adjust the tram?
What the heck? Why would it do that? That's...
I don't know what it's doing.
Well, you hear it? It's going and then it stops and then it goes again.
Hmm.
I'm
Well,
just
it
gonna
looks
cycle
like
power on the whole thing and see if it's still acting goofy.
okay.
I don't know, sometimes I feel like something strange happens in the Duet 3 realm. Things I've never really seen my older Duet ever do.
Got it.
See, that sounds normal. It's like something weird was going on with the steppers.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that sounds perfectly normal. So when it was going before, remember how I said I had that really loud buzz? It's like something goofy was going on in the way the motors were working or the steppers were working.
Got it.
And there's no weird hesitations or anything.
Hey, Steve.
Hey. Were
Hey.
you missing steps or?
Oh, see, there it goes again. What the hell? So it just did a Y move, and I don't know if you could hear it, but it was like zzz, 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 instead of, you know, something normal.
Huh.
Like here, I'll move the Y here. You hear that? I don't know how well it shows up on camera or not, but it's not moving smoothly.
It's hard for us to tell because the sound is out of sync.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's out of sync, but like if you just don't watch the video and you listen to it, do you not hear the zzz, 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 zzz as it starts and stops? Here, let me move it one more time. Did you hear it that time?
I hear it go like wah 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 kind of noise.
Exactly.
I don't know how unusual that is for your printer. Mine kind of is that loud normally, but
No, the fact is that should be one line. It's one line of G code from point A to point B.
right.
It shouldn't be going wah wah wah. It should just be wah, and then it stops.
Yeah.
You know, at the end.
Yeah.
Instead, it's like going like 50, 75 millimeters, and then it like hesitates, and then it goes again.
Are your motor currents set right?
They're set based off of what Josh has, and this is the stepper motors off the
Okay.
bomb. So.
And you have the heat sinks on them?
Yeah, and they haven't really gone anywhere yet today, so they're still pretty cool anyway.
Because that was kind
What?
of steps. Are they hot and missing steps because they're hot? Are they undercurrent?
Well, they're not hot, and theoretically they shouldn't be undercurrent.
Yep.
I'll go through their settings real
I have a
quick.
question. Does it do the same thing when you make diagonal moves on like the 45 degree
It did.
axis? Okay.
Here, I'll do one. 1 second. I don't know if you could hear that or not, but I did it.
Yeah. And I could see it in the video kind of hitch for a second there. I don't know.
Yeah, both stepper motors are doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I dragged that just the diagonals one at a time, and they both did
Yeah.
this. Did it is what I was getting at.
Yeah.
What-
And the
only
reason I suggested
little-
doing it diagonal is it uses only one motor at a time.
Right.
Sometimes with Cartesians, if you've got them, you know, both kind of on edge, they'll fail, you know, one way versus the other. Or sorry, core XY, it's not Cartesians.
Yeah. Know what you're talking about.
My brain's tired.
Yeah, I understand.
I wonder. I just had a thought.
Uh-oh. You had a thought?
Yeah, no, spooky, right?
Get me in trouble.
How? Oh, never mind. Yeah. Because that was useful. Here, what does this cord go to? And I pull it, and it turns out that it's about 8 feet long, and it yanks the machine off the shelf. And it turns out that it was the cord that ran to the PBX. So, yeah, how about that? It's been a fairly rough day for me.
Why is that?
I didn't sleep well last night. I didn't sleep
Yeah.
fairly. Been fighting headaches for 2 days.
Oh, that sucks, man.
And it's not even a headache. Or it messed with your
Well, did you hear that?
I did not see that.
No.
Here, listen. Notice anything different now?
It's not doing it.
Exactly.
What did you do? What did you change?
Turned off mesh. For some reason, it's hesitating. Has something to do with the mesh, which must mean that it has something to do with the Z. The Z must not be changing fast enough to keep up with the movements of the core or the XY axis or something.
Oh, yeah. Mesh compensation. But your mesh isn't varying that much. What's your deceleration set at? Or your max Z moves?
What's my what? Said that what?
Your Z max speed and acceleration?
I have no idea. It seems pretty slow though.
Go into the config file, check that. Let's check there.
Yeah, I am. Oh.
Ah.
We gotta rearrange this stuff at some point. Here we go. Z acceleration is 20, which seems slow to me. I wonder what my big pulse is.
And max speed with Z are only 800. Yeah, take your Z and bump it up. Like,
1 second.
especially if you're doing mesh compensation, your Z needs to be able to keep up. Now, it's not traveling very far or very fast.
I'm gonna look and see what Josh had in his, because I might still be working off of something that Denal did with that. Give me a minute. Because I always thought the Z seemed a lot slower, really slow to accelerate.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Cricut?
I don't know about the Cricut. I have a Cameo.
Okay.
I've got a Cameo 3. Actually, I have a Cameo 3, and 2 of my kids have Cameo 3s. And if you had asked me last week, I could have gotten you a Cameo 4 at about 50% off.
What are you guys talking about?
So
It's
I'll
a
be
fancy
watching
cutter.
this.
It's a what?
It's like what they call a die cutter.
It's a vinyl cutter.
Kind of like what you use for like cutting vinyl for signs. They're also used for like cutting like fabric or leather.
Paper. You can do paper art, paper craft with it. You can make T-shirts with it because it can cut out heat transfers.
You want to see what the really old interface looks like?
Yeah.
This is firmware like, what was it, 17? 1.17, I think. Yeah, firmware 1.17e from 2017, early
Right.
2017.
You are exposing your belly. It must be rough. I know.
The belly's a trap.
It's a trap. It's a trap. Actually, for Levi, it's not. He seems to enjoy it because he starts purring when his belly gets rubbed. If he's not already purring, he is orange.
Yeah, I have 5 times the Z acceleration in my big box.
Yeah, you should probably bump that up a bit. I am only in the last half hour or so have I been able to start focusing my eyes.
Did not mean to close that.
I've been setting alarms every 6 hours. Give or take. Which is about as long as it takes to print a set of masks or face shields.
Yeah, Josh has his acceleration at 20 Z of 800, or the max speed is 800.
Yeah, I think your max speed at 800 is a little bit on the light side.
I think the real killer is the acceleration.
Yeah, because it can't change.
I don't know, I'm gonna just go crazy and set my acceleration to the same as my big box, at least 100.
Right. And you're going to set your max speed up?
I'm just going to try changing the acceleration for now and see how that goes.
Okay. There you go, Fuzzy. There you go. You can come back over.
The heck? Oh. Haha. I hit save on my big box. I'm like, why isn't this thing working? On the big box, I had a lot of weird issues with the Wi-Fi in the beginning. So what I ended up doing and what I found worked is if I didn't turn the Wi-Fi on automatically, and then I just turned it on after with a macro at the end, then the Wi-Fi would work fine every time.
Ah.
And I hit save, and of course it rebooted the Duet, and that's why I can't reconnect to it. But that's neither here nor there. Let's see what happens now. Well, it's definitely much snappier.
Yeah?
Oh yeah. Yeah, the acceleration was definitely killing it. I'm going to have to ask Josh why he had it so light. You got 3 stepper motors moving the bed. I can't believe that they're going to be under some sort of tremendous load, you know?
Yeah, I would expect it to be an issue.
I think I had to have it pretty snappy when I was probing with the... Yeah, see, that time I think it sounded like it moved real smooth. Let me do a big move here.
Now, Josh may not have bed mesh running, which could be a thing.
Oh, that's weird. Silhouette has a 3D printer.
They do, and it's for the crafter.
Yeah.
Never heard of Silhouette. Who's that?
It doesn't look horrible.
No, it's actually it's got some pretty good reviews as a Delta does. And they just released an updated version. Okay, there is my...
Oh, whoops. I did not re-enable the mesh. Let's home it again with enabling the mesh and see how that goes.
Okay. There is my 4240 extrusion. I will be right back.
Alright.
I should set up a Prusa slicer profile for my big box. And then I don't have to, I have like a dedicated laptop I use to run the big box, just like an old work laptop that was collecting dust because it's ancient. So I just took it home and used that for a slicer. Oh God, that sounded worse. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Well, that's a predicament. I'm only doing these travel moves at 100 millimeters a second. I'll never be able to print quickly if I can't even do a point-to-point move.
Yeah.
I bet you if I moved to the center and then did a move, it wouldn't be so bad. Oh, that was interesting.
What's that? What's your acceleration?
Acceleration for what?
Your speed. You're at, what, 6,000?
Yeah, it's 100 millimeters a second is what it boils down to.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back. It's almost like instead of smoothing the points out, it's like it's drawing jagged lines so that the bed needs to rapidly transition.
There depends on how your bed leveling is set up, how your mesh is set up. I know that, you do have what looks like to be a twist in your bed.
Yeah, but it doesn't. I just tried to run on the front or the back side, and I still had the hesitations, even on the pretty much flat side versus the side with the slope on it.
Yeah. That's kind of weird. If only there was somebody around who might know how to fix that. And I'm not. Listen. No?
See, much faster now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even when it's happening, though, the part that's weird is that the Z stepper motors, I'm watching them, they're not moving fast. Like, it's actually relatively slowly that they're turning. You know what I mean? So it's not like like the top speed is an issue by any means.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I'm getting the feeling that the twist is actually reverse to what we're thinking.
Yeah.
I think it might be on the end with the two-stepper motors. I don't know. I could be wrong about that. I mean, it looks like 0, 0. If 0, 0 is right, then it would be on the end with one-stepper motor, but... So it gets a little bit lumpier with the bed on, which is probably something to do with the build tack.
Did you see the post the other day about bed leveling and tramming?
No.
Yeah, there was a thing. Let me go find it.
Looks like somebody ground the nozzle in a little bit, huh?
A little bit. Like I said, probably why it was returned. And it's not ground in just a little bit. I don't think that picture doesn't really give you an. As long as the kinematics are in good shape, I can use. I can. That.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it looks like the bed springs are cranked all the way down. Like they're up tight.
So they probably warped the bed.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, it's not like I don't have extra beds for these things. I've got an extra bed sitting out there. If the bed has been twisted or the bed has not been twisted, I've got a glass plate to go on it because I buy them in packs of 3. I buy 3 bed plates at a time for the enders. Not necessarily the heated part, but the glass part. And it's going to get a first thing it's going to get is a strain relief on the heater table once I get it up and running. But I'm in the process of unpacking it now. How much damage they did. Hey, considering I paid $150 for it, I got more than that already in parts. Operator error can only account for so much. And in this case, a lot.
Here, let me quote some stuff from each Jubilee.
Oh yeah, operator error. Huh. You know what the nice part about all this is? These are so easy to throw together because most of it's already been done. Except one of the things that what I want to do with these since I'm doing it before I set it up, is I'm going to move the control box. Because you can move the control box to the back. Hey, Levi. He's like, you've got a box. What are you doing with the box? It's a big box. Why can't I be in the big box? I should be in the big box. I'm a cat. I should be in the big box. There you go. Big box. You can be in the big box. Well, figures. Previous owner didn't put the Allen wrenches back in the box. That's a terrible thing. It's just a
Yeah, so what seems to happen is as it goes over the probe point, so I just did a 9-point mesh, and it was perfectly fine. It hit the center of the bed, roughly right where the probe point is, hesitates, and then keeps going. So it's like it's doing some sort of drastic angle right at the bed point instead of drawing some sort of like S-curve through the points to kind of smooth that kind of motion out a little bit. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So like so if it had like a little bit of smoothing to the grid, then it would just go right through the points without a problem. But now we have to wait for the z-axis to accelerate to the new speed instantaneously, and that's why it hesitates. That's the way it seems. Yeah, because basically I'm doing a move from directly across from 0, 0 to 300, 300.
Okay.
That it's doing that, it shouldn't.
Hello?
Hey, Josh.
Hey, Josh.
What can I do for you?
So I have something strange going on, and I'm just curious if you have any insight on it at all. So,
Something bad.
what's that?
No one's seen Wicked.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't yet.
Something bad. All right, what's up?
So, I went to print yesterday, and it seems like the tramming isn't going to be good enough.
Looks like you broke up.
I said I did some. I was trying to do a print yesterday, 100 by 100 by 100, and it doesn't seem like the tramming is going to be sufficient in order to print for whatever reason. So I was trying to enable a mesh today.
Okay.
So right now what happens is after I applied the mesh, I was watching the moves, and all of a sudden the moves start going, you know, as it's like.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know what this problem is.
Do you know how to solve it?
Yeah. Basically, either you can do one of two things. The option that I don't recommend is you basically disable mesh bed leveling except when you're printing. The second option, which is like you put in your start G-code to turn it on and the stop G-code to turn it off. The second option is you turn up your jerk in Z. And I think the jerk in Z on the default config is really conservative. I think I turned it up from like 2, which is basically nothing, to 20. And that basically got rid of the problem.
That sounds about right. Sure.
So okay, that does sound like it would fix it, but it also seems kind of like a band-aid because
No, it's actually correct.
well, no, hold on, hear me out for a second. So, and I don't know that this is anything that we can do anything about, but so I just did a 9-point level,
Okay.
and I'm telling the printer to move from 0, 0 to 300, 300. So it passes directly over the center point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And right as it passes over the center point is where it hesitates. So obviously, or what it seems to me is that instead of interpolating through those points to kind of have a gradual slope, it's essentially doing like you're going at one plane and then you cross over the point and you're all of a sudden going down or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like it's like an instantaneous change in direction.
I'm pretty sure it is interpolating, but I think I'll mention. Did you notice that? Okay, first question: did you notice that like weird jump while it was doing the mesh bed leveling?
No, when it's doing mesh bed leveling, mesh bed leveling is turned off, so that.
Okay, great. Just wanted to make sure that you had mesh bed leveling turned off when you were actually doing mesh bed leveling.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So
here, listen to this real quick, and maybe you'll kind of hear what I'm trying to say here. Is that it's and I know you can't really watch the video and hear the sound at the same time because it's not going to sync. But here, just listen for a second. So where that hesitation is directly over the center point. And I'll do the jerk thing and try that. But doesn't that seem really weird that it's only hesitating on the points, not?
Yeah, that does make it seem like their implementation is a bit strange. Or like, but yeah, that kind of does go across my intuition, or against my intuition.
Did you look at the message I posted in the live stream chat? It's something that was posted earlier in one of the other forum channels, and they're talking about the fact that you should do a true bed leveling and then do a single G30 probe at the center to establish your Z equals 0 reference there. And then either mesh bed probe, so G29S0, or load the height map, because evidently there's some bugs around mesh bed leveling.
I.e.
This
not
was
implemented?
Well, I do home the bed. It does a trim, and then you know, everything is homed out, and it should be as flat as possible.
Right, but they're saying before you do and this is what it says. It says after a G32, run a G30 at the middle of the bed to reestablish the Z0 point. This is what DC42 was saying in that thread. It has to do with how G32 calculates offsets. And I linked to the thread on the Duet forums.
Interesting. Yeah, it's weird because that is exactly what I do, but it's just by happenstance that I happen to do that.
And what they were talking about at the time was how you're seeing when everybody's doing mesh bed leveling with the Duet firmware, everybody's bed's coming out kind of taco looking.
Taco Tuesday!
And that's evidently why. You know how everybody seems to end up with like one board that's one edge that's like way up, and then one edge that's like below Z.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I would try that. We first do the jerk thing. Turn the Z jerk up to like 20. Where's the Z jerk in the current config set to?
Well, also I upped the acceleration on the Z.
Well,
maximum speed, maximum jerk.
Jerk is going to limit your sudden movements, though. That's.
Well, no, I understand. I understand that. I was asking why 20 for the Z acceleration? It seemed slow.
Oh, sorry, not acceleration, but jerk.
No, I know, but you have 20 on the acceleration as well.
Oh, I must have been playing with it and realized that I couldn't actually go as fast. The Z bed can't actually go that fast. And so I think I probably just dialed it back to some conservative value. You're welcome to play with it.
Oh, so I just set it to my same thing that's on my big box, 100, and instead of 20, and it seems as snappy as I would really snappy now as far as.
Okay. Z for acceleration or for or
I for acceleration, yes.
There we go. Okay. From like 20 to like 100. Okay, yeah, I can play with that. Yeah, I wanted to start at something kind of conservative, so we just kind of start by working for everyone.
Yeah. Also, for the when I go to do the mesh level, since it's after a tramming, unless you have a really, really messed up bed, I don't see why we need to be hopping 5 millimeters up. So I made a mesh macro, and in the macro, I tell it to turn the hop to 1 millimeter.
Okay.
It might be a little light, but it's a lot better than 5.
The hop in the mesh bed leveling?
Right.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that seems, I mean, after you're leveled up, that seems reasonable. Yeah, if you want to do a pull request.
Oh yeah, we need to talk about how you want me to do that, by the way.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, because I posted the files for you, but I never did the pull request. I think the way you wanted me to do it for the adding the bed to the.
Oh yeah, the presynthesizer.
Yeah, did you ever get that into yours?
Not yet. I haven't. Did you put them on? Wait, did you put them on GitHub or did you put them on the chat or the?
So I tried to put them on GitHub, but I guess I didn't do it in a way that made sense because you don't seem to know where they are. So I need to learn how to do it properly.
Yeah, and I'm happy to teach you.
Yeah, and I did put it in. I had put the files in the live stream chat a while back, but that's I can do it all again too. It's no big deal.
Okay. Holy shit, $1,100. Okay, I have some good news and some. So the Delrin wedge plates. Yes, you can get them injection molded. I found a place in China. The only problem is that the mold, like the plate itself is dirt cheap, but the mold is $1,100. So, we'll say what?
That sounds about right.
Maybe I can ask Tim at Illustrator if he wants to go in on that with me.
Well, so, you know, what's the manufacturing? Where are their minimum shots that they said they were going to do?
Oh, like the mold is like I think it's like there's no minimum quantity. It's the mold that is the thing that they but they must make a mold, so that's the thing that costs them extra money.
Oh yeah, no, molds are expensive. Molds are always for injection molding.
Yeah, so like the mold life is up to like $1 million.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm sure that if you ask the community, we might be able to pitch in a certain amount of money towards it as well.
Well, the thing is, it's like what you have to build that into how many of these pieces are you going to think you're going to need, or you're going to sell over the life of the project?
Yeah.
And you know,
40.
right? So, the market isn't that big yet.
Actually, who I would talk to?
Talk to CMCNC.
CMCNC.
Yeah, they've got an injection mold.
Oh, but I kind of feel like he'd basically charge me the same price. It's not like I can get around the price.
Hey Josh,
it's not that.
Oh,
He's going to have a better feel for what the market is.
Hmm.
And it may be a matter of, if he's doing another mold for something else, right, another small part, you can put multiple parts into a mold.
I'm not exactly sure that's how it works, but
yeah, it can. I've done lots of miniatures. Your injection styrene miniatures, yeah. The mold makers will sometimes mix customers in the mold.
Okay.
But it also depends on what his minimum mold size is for his machine. So
that's fair. Yeah, that's a good point.
you know, you can also approach like Reaper, because they have their own injection molder in Texas.
Oh, the miniature maker?
Yeah. Although they're probably pretty busy with the Bones line.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I mean, I think I have a friend who does injection molding she designs stuff for injection molding for a living, and I could probably ask her if this is a good price or a good idea.
Yeah. Have you checked Proto Labs?
Proto Labs?
Yep. Proto Labs. They do small injection molding where they will, instead of doing a metal mold, they'll do 3D printed molds.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, so
if you have something, they'll make a mold that you can run 1,000 on.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Check out Ico Mold.
Yeah.
So at 100 millimeters a second, it seemed to go much better. I didn't hear anything, so I just upped it to 200 millimeters a second, and I can hear a little hesitation in there, but it's not dramatic. And again, it's right in the center of the bed. So here, listen.
That sounds like a math problem.
You hear it?
Well, you know what I mean, Josh.
I know what you're talking about.
So.
Oh wait, no, it's not a math problem. You want to know why?
Why?
It's because it's changing direction. Okay, it's kind of a math problem. It's like kind of a math, but it's because it's changing direction.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
abrupt change in direction. So, what would be the harm in upping the Z jerk more?
No harm as long as you just don't stall it. And I just picked some I can't talk English right now. I picked some conservative values to start with, but if you happen to pick something that you like, let me know and I can change them and we can update those in GitHub so that people can start with some slightly more respectable conservative values.
Well, I just want this thing to stop making sound or stop hesitating. Stop hesitating when yeah, sound was the wrong word. Yeah, it shouldn't. And then, because if I'm printing at a fast speed and it's going to be going through the print, that's not good.
Well, it won't because you'll never be able to rapid as fast as you can. You'll never be able to extrude as fast as you can wrap. I mean.
Well, I mean, 100 millimeters a second, or maybe even a little bit more for some, when you're doing like a single wall with a volcano, people might even go faster than that.
Right, but the travel speed is like triple that.
Yeah.
What's the?
Oh, go ahead.
Well, right now I'm testing at 200 millimeters a second, and it looked like that was what your maximum speed was in the config file, wasn't it?
You know what? I think you're right. I think I dialed it down a little bit.
So, okay, you have 1300 as the maximum, or 13,000, which would give us, what? A little bit faster than 200. 216. So anyway, I was just thinking at 200 millimeters a second, we should be able to move without hearing that,
I agree.
So
yeah, feel free to play with them and let me know if you find something that you like a little bit better. I can also test it on my machine, and that's 2 machines, and then that seems reasonable. Yeah, because I basically didn't want to put anyone in a position where they like stall out their machine.
Right. All right. At 30, I can't hear anything. I'm going to do a mesh bed level with a lot more points and see what happens. Also, I created a mesh macro. That's what you said you wanted me to...
Yeah. Yeah, because right now it's there are instructions in the wiki.
There's instructions for the mesh leveling, yeah.
For mesh leveling, yeah.
That's where I got my macro from. I just made it off of the wiki and then I tweaked it so that it doesn't have to hop so much.
Sweet.
That's all I did. Here,
Hey, Levi. What you doing, bud?
Here you can see the macro.
Hey.
Can? Well, okay, those with really good eyes can see the macro.
No, I dropped it in live stream chat.
I was about to say, no, I could read this on the chat.
I'm looking at the screen. I'm not looking at the live. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to put it up to 7 points because Brian had a thought where if you have an odd number of points, one of the points is the center point that you actually level your bed off of. Instead of doing 6 points. But
oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Even more. Well, okay. So after you do the molds, the parts are really cheap.
Yeah.
It's so cheap.
Yeah. After you do the molds, the parts are like pennies.
Yes. They are like pennies.
So like, you ever do Warhammer or something like that?
I know what you're talking about, but I've never done it myself.
So you're paying $50 for the plastic in it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go more than a millimeter for this. It is really close, actually, on the one side of the bed. You know what? I don't think the tramming is working really well. Maybe I need to rehome the z-axis. Yeah, I'm definitely down on the front right ball and up on the front left ball.
That's probably why you're getting the taco. Well, I guess not the taco, but like the slant.
Why is that?
Yeah, it's definitely contributing to it.
You're sure that the... Well, because remember that the scale is like 0.25 millimeters both directions, so it's like 0.5 millimeters. But you can see it probably more than that. You're sure that the 3-point leveling actually is wired correctly? Yeah, because in all honesty, that looks pretty flat. Just slanted.
Well, it's got a twist to it.
So the lumpiness has to do with the build tack. I took the build tack off and it was much smoother.
Yeah, I had a lump on mine too, but it's because I had glue.
No, I was just watching it, and it seemed like I'm watching the space underneath as it's moving. And remember how I said I had a millimeter off of the bed for the probe, and it just seemed like on the side that's closest to me, that whole side is down much further than the side that's farthest from me. But it also kind of is, you can see that, and as far as like, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you look at these points look pretty close to the plane.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like you could fit a plane of best fit, and it would be at what would look like the most obvious angle right there, which is the plane with the blue section would be the bottom point.
Yeah.
And the opposite corner would be the top point, or would be let's say those would be both points on the plane.
All right.
Well,
so now with 7-point grid, let's see if I hear hesitations as I go.
So one of the things I was noting is if you look at it, it looks like there's a twist across the back because it's tramming the first two edges, right? The front two edges into a plane.
So that sounds pretty good now.
Okay. So your front two edges are in a plane. Your back two edges are showing a twist. Because the front two edges are what you're cramming the bed to, right? And if I'm off on I'm misunderstanding what was happening here, let me know. But that's what I'm seeing. So what looks like is there's a bit of a twist in the bed plate itself.
Hey Josh.
Mm-hmm.
When you get a chance, can you take a picture of 00 and 300 with just the without any jewels on it?
I have a diagram in the wiki now.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Let me. Yeah. See, that's what I do when I'm at home all day.
I mean, you are a grad student, so you've got these total parties and stuff that you got going on all the time. And, you know.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's kind of a party of one for the next few months. Okay, go to frame layout. It's the second menu item. Go scroll all the way to the top, and then
Oh, I see it.
I keep forgetting YouTube is behind by a little bit.
Okay, so 00 should be right on the edge of the bed.
Not quite. It's off by a teeny little bit. Where, because it's 2.5, 2.5.
2.5 in or off?
In both directions.
Okay, so look like I'm about 1 millimeter or 2 off the edge of the aluminum plate. That's
Okay,
interesting.
so what that means is this is something that can be probably fixed in the instructions. What I would suggest checking is take a ruler and measure we're looking for twist in the Z extrusion, any extrusion connected to Z. So I would measure the distance from the outer frame to the center. Actually, yeah, if you look at that picture, basically I would look at measure the extrusion distance with a ruler from the side panel basically to the middle, where you just bump it up against the extrusion, and then do that on the bottom and the top, and see if you get a difference. And then just see if it's centered too, because if it's not centered, that will also affect it.
So once we get past this, Josh, did you see the pictures I posted yesterday?
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Of the ball sensor? I don't know what else to call it.
So ball sensor. Oh yeah, I was still unclear what you were going for, but I was only looking at the pictures.
Yeah, it looks like maybe my center post is slightly off.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because towards the front, it looks like the probe is over the aluminum now, so my whole back end seems to be off a little.
Yeah, and this is like the problem of assembling a giant machine. But I think if there's an extra step,
Levi?
there should be a step in the wiki now, in the instructions now that tell you to take a ruler and measure the distance between the two ends of the short extrusion before you replace it with the tall one on the back to check to make sure they're the same.
Well, I thought I had made sure, but
not. I guess we can go back in time and watch the video. Let's see. What was it I was looking for?
Yeah, so if I measure from the inner extrusion to the edge of the rail, it looks like I'm at like 198.5, and on the other side I'm at 198.5 as well.
Okay, is that true for the bottom and the top?
That's what I'm trying to figure out now.
Nope. Sorry. I've got some kids already burned their paws today.
Oh my gosh.
Literally by walking on a 60-degree bed.
Oh.
With a print in process.
Oh.
Dumbass. But I didn't get a Y layer shift.
Huh. I was going to say, hey, it's not like they grabbed the bed with their hand when it was 100 degrees Celsius.
Well, my biggest is having him step between the bed and the frame when it's moving.
Yeah, the top one seems to be off a little, or at the top it seems to be off ever so slightly.
Okay. How much is ever so slightly, like more than a millimeter?
No, about a millimeter.
Oops, let's get cut out.
It's about a millimeter.
Okay, that might do it. The other thing too, though, to remember is that it could also be the other two Z towers that are essentially twisting it and causing it to be off. So it's worth checking those as well. Holy crap! This stuff is my computer isn't set.
Yeah, The top seems to be off by about a millimeter.
Okay.
Huh. Wonder
That's-
how that happened.
It's not huge, but
Well, it's gonna
actually,
cause a
if
twist.
fixing it, yeah, I mean, it is going to cause a twist.
How do I fix it? That's a question.
What's that?
But yeah, it seems like a jerk of 30 seems to be pretty good for a 200 millimeter move, 200 millimeters a second move.
Okay. A jerk of 30 on Z.
Yeah.
Okay, let me write this down.
I have my acceleration at 100, but maybe I can drop that back down some.
Yeah, no, I think I just had this like scary my imagination was like, oh my god, the bed, like one of the Z motors stalling and the other two that keep going is just like a catastrophic, like you'll drop your bed kind of a thing, failure mode that I didn't want anyone to go through.
Well, I have my Z at 100 acceleration on my big box, and I've had it that way my big box is like 4 years old now, and well, I didn't have to do wet for 4 years, but I had it for probably 3. And that only has 2-stepper motors.
Okay, all right, I feel reassured.
I do have the overall speed slower actually, but oh, this is awkward to get to. Can't see it.
I'm going to eat a snack. If I sound like I'm making chewing noises, I will mute myself. Just let me know.
It sounds like you're making chewing noises, probably because you are.
That's true. I am.
Is it good stuff?
It's just cereal.
What kind of cereal?
Hippie cereal. No, it's from Trader Joe's. Do you have Trader Joe's? Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, you have Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
There are Trader Joe's everywhere.
Well,
Not only do we have Trader Joe's, we have Aldi and Lidl.
well, I'm reassuring. But no, it's just like it's like the Trader Joe's version of Life cereal.
Oh,
I can't call it that.
It's like having a bag of Golden Puffs.
Well, they're like
No, like having Golden Puffs instead of
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Golden Puffs.
I think Trader Joe's does it enough that it's quite endearing.
Hey, here. What's going on that? Okay. So I get the high density foam out of a pack of cereal, and immediately 2 of them decided that they want to chew. And it's like, yes, and if you step on that, you're going to find that it's really sticky because it's a sticker. Okay, so all day long they've been like laying about doing cat things, and now they're like, as soon as I'm actually doing something that's not paying attention directly to them, it's nothing but, hey, I'm gonna walk across a print bed, or
Ouch, 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 ouch.
step in front of the TV, or things like that. Or got Eric on the big screen.
Woohoo!
And I'm trying
I'm a
to
movie
put
star.
together an Ender 5. So and it's a return, and you could probably see why it was returned in the pictures that I posted earlier.
Somebody had no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, the scratchy bits.
That strikes me as user error. Now, granted, I could be wrong, but we'll find out once I get those things squared up.
Well, considering how many prints that they printed like that, it's definitely user error.
So I made an adjustment on that that carriage plate, and the new ones look much better, or the new one looks much better. And I did put a screw in and drive a pin through it, and the pin does make contact, so we have an electrical connection.
Mm-hmm.
And 22 gauge wire fits beautifully in the slots.
Oh, cool.
And the second one, the screws don't go in as deep. They're not countersunk as far. So you can use a standard M4 or M3 6mm flathead, and it doesn't punch out the front.
Mm-hmm.
And I added some relief on the tightening side of the countersink. So you just lay in your wire and put the screw down, and you get a contact. And then the idea was that I would pick off the leads from the two bottom screws, the two bottom inside screw points, and run those out the same hole in the carriage that the Z goes out of, the Z probe switch. So
Well, I think this is a little bit hard to envision in my brain. Actually, give me 1 sec. Let me finish typing a thing, and then then I'll do one thing at once.
Stacker, don't go up there. He's busy. Leave him alone. Okay. I don't know why I should think that they would actually listen. I do not need a cat fight behind my TV.
Why not?
And you're scooped. Yes, you're scooped up. Aha! Top cat tree for you. So, yes, you're in the cat tree. Not only you're in the cat tree, you have the very tippy top. So there you go. You're in charge.
There.
For anybody who believes that cats don't have egos, yeah.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
I don't know who would have ever said that cats don't have egos. That's a silly thought right there.
COVID-19 again?
All right, what were you saying that I should check with the front Z screws? Like, what would you measure off of to check? Ah, I muted myself again. Huh.
You did.
Okay, so I've got that fixed, I think. As far as the front Z screws go, what were you talking about measuring off of?
Oh, for the front?
Yeah, you said check the front as well, but I don't know where a good place to measure off of would be.
That's a good question. You probably have to. If the whole frame is slightly skewed, it would be hard to know just by checking. You wouldn't be able to check the front lips or like the front edges of the extrusion. But that said, there are enough redundant ones that it might be worth a good starting point. Just like a sanity check.
Hey.
Has anyone tried the Delrin wedge plates that were machined?
No, I haven't got that far yet. I'm getting closer, but I haven't got that far yet.
Okay. Oh my goodness, they're so nice.
So what you're saying is you like the Delrin wedge plate?
Yes. It's just like even if it's like kind of misaligned, it will pull it into position, which is what it's supposed to do. But I've just never like in practice with the printed parts they're so fuzzy. The wedge, well, they're so gritty, I suppose, is a better term. That you don't get to see that as dramatically as you do with the Delrin ones.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yes.
Huh. Oh, I never changed it in the firmware, did I?
Oh, yeah?
Well, gentlemen, I gotta get going. Everybody have a good night.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Oh crap! I've been putting off my homework.
Oh, that's a bad thing.
That that thing that it right in grad school.
I get to listen to my fiance whenever she's dealing with grad school stuff, do the same thing.
Yeah, it happens.
That's a clock. Yes. Sorry. Well, I mean, it's homework, right?
Say what?
It's homework. You got plenty of time.
Well, this project is kind of like your homework, right?
Yeah, but I don't. But I actually enjoy working on it.
Whereas your homework, not so much.
Not necessarily. Some of it is good. Okay, this now suddenly makes a lot of sense.
Does that make more sense?
Yeah. Okay, so okay. Oh, so you're screwing. They're touching. Well, what are they touching? Or are you just pushing? They're touching the pin from the tip.
Right. So you put the screw in, and if you look at the pictures from earlier, one of the pictures is looking down the pin shaft.
Oh, I just didn't scroll up.
Yeah, you're gonna have to scroll back, unless you want me to post it again. But
No, it's fine. I see. Okay.
and so that was after the print, without doing any kind of cleanup work or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to do this, the assembly process would be put the screw in,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That makes sense.
Then check for electrical continuity, right?
Yep.
And then you can take the screws out and add your wiring. And the wires are, they're using countersunk or flathead M3s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The only thing I would worry about is that there's no preload that's actually holding it in place. There's nothing that's actually holding it in that position. So if it's just like ever so slightly off, if it like relaxes after it's been press fit, then it might not make contact. Does that make sense?
Oh, it does. It does. I mean, it might. I don't know. That's why I was,
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's like we gotta test it.
There's not enough. There's that plate is reasonably thin enough that it would be. You might be able to put screws into the back of the pins where you're threading.
Yeah.
Move the screw holes up. But finding a screw short enough to hit the back of the pin, and I'm afraid to start messing with the material around the pins from a structural standpoint.
Yeah, well, you've still got plenty of space. You're being held in with quite a bit of material, I think is what I meant to say.
Okay. Well, I mean, one of the things I was considering is just moving up so that you're at the top of the pin instead of against the back of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just screwing down on top of it. I wasn't sure if that was going to potentially skew the parallelism of the pins.
I did not hear that last part. I'm sorry, it broke off.
Potentially skew the parallelism of the pins by coming into the back, coming down on top of the back. So if the holes, instead of touching the back of the pin, where the pins are driving up against the screw,
mm-hmm.
The screw hole moves so that you're screwing down and touching the back, touching the face, not the end, but the side. of the pin.
Okay.
But if you're doing that, that's where your preload can come in, right?
Yeah, because you're threading into something and pushing on the actual pin. That would totally work.
But you need like a 4 millimeter long screw. Those are hard to find without doing button heads. Now you can always cut a screw.
Oh. A practice I don't encourage people to do in production.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would use your crimping tools typically have a screw cutter.
That's true. I forgot about that. Yeah.
You just think, and they're designed for that. They're really heavy. But the other thing is I was worried about was how much free space do we have on the back of that plate, right? Because I couldn't really, I don't think I can counterbore a button head. And I was actually using the countersink for the flathead to help hold the screw and hold the wiring in place. Because you're really just doing a wrap and tightening. And you're always coming in on the left side. So as you tighten it down, it pulls it tighter.
Okay.
Somehow YouTube stopped. And I have no idea what I'm actually watching. How did I end up watching a sports fashion show? That would be YouTube, I think.
Huh. So after that mesh level with the 7 points, I'm back to having a hesitation even at 100 millimeters a second.
Interesting. What is your jerk set to?
Right now I have it set to 50, but I'm going to change it again to 100 and see what happens.
Okay. That seems like a good start.
Okay, 100 millimeters a second worked.
And I think we've got the inputs on the duet easily enough to pick that up as some kind of switch that we can monitor.
Yeah, a switch would you could totally have it show up as a switch.
Now, how does the firmware handle switches like that? Is there a way to, if like, so for example, if there's switch logic, or is there logic in the firmware that we could set so that, while a tool is engaged, right, while a tool is locked, if that switch opens, there's a problem and some kind of action is taken?
That part is still a little bit unclear to me. I think this is the case where you might need conditional G-code. But again, I don't quote me on that. I haven't thoroughly looked into it.
Would it be a firmware issue where, because the firmware is a state machine, right? I mean, it is a state machine, right?
Yes, at some level.
Okay, so you're going to have to play at the lower levels then, because you've got, when a tool is locked, certain conditions apply, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the firmware. I'm just postulating at this point.
Yeah, no. My forewarning is that the firmware is it's a lot of moving parts.
Yes.
Boy. It's not the cleanest code, but that's not anything against them.
So what I was thinking is like, you have this, if the tool is engaged and this becomes open, you pause the machine immediately. Or, I mean, I'm not thinking necessarily stop, but, you know, you're moving with the tool that's not engaged. That's supposed to be.
Right. That makes sense.
And e-stops are an interrupt, right? So the M112 or whatever it is for the duet.
I can't say that it's going to make sense at that level because they're running a real-time operating system now. So all of their abstractions are done, all of their programming is done one level above the physical hardware.
Okay. Well, they should be able to put that switch into an interrupt, or not an interrupt, but I mean, if it's real-time operating system, they're not necessarily using loop detections, right? Or if they are,
there's some other semantics for doing the equivalent of an interrupt.
Okay. So that's where I was getting at for that particular thing. It might be useful. It might not be. I don't know.
It's worth poking and asking the folks on Duet forums, like, hey, if there was a switch that we happen to have on the carriage that was triggered when a tool was properly loaded, how would we detect it? Or how would we like respond to it, or create any sort of control logic around it?
Okay, that's a good question. And the only reason I'm even looking at this right now is step in the build where I'm putting my carriage together.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm going to put the carriage together, I'd like to have this here right away without having to take it apart and put it back. I mean, I already have the carriage plate made up. It doesn't have the screws in it. But
taking the front one off is pretty easy, unless you're running wires through it, which that would make it harder. But replacing the front one is super easy. Replacing the middle one is quite hard. Replacing the back one also is like a little bit is more difficult.
Well, you got to take the pin out of the twist lock in order to get the front off.
Right, but that's easy.
Okay. I haven't taken my twist lock apart yet, so all the ones I got are pre-assembled.
Yeah, I do recommend. I mean, yes, I did not when I sent those out to people, and I think when Steve sends them out to people too, they don't have thread locker on them, and you should put thread locker on it.
Okay.
When you're done assembling it, just like the vanilla thread locker blue that everything else. That's in the assembly in tools.
Okay.
Mainly because I actually have had it fall off on me. I was like, hey, gee, how come I didn't pick up the tool anymore? I was like, oh, it's because a critical part fell off.
Like there's no pin. Hi.
Yes. Redlock fixes those sort of problems.
Oh, that's good. No, it's like, all right. I've got the front pre-assembled, and I have some kind of clicking noise from one of the carriage, one side. And clicking noises are not good.
Oh, yeah, so it's a little hard to hear. I think you're like cutting in and out.
Oh, I'm not looking anywhere near I'm talking away from the iPad.
Oh, okay.
And it's voice actuated, so it's probably not picking it up.
Oh, I see.
I spent most of the weekend not being able to see very well.
Is this like a doctor thing?
This is a really bad headache and thing. I've got an appointment follow-up next week. But more annoying than everything else because everything's kind of a little fuzzy around the edges. And it's not my glasses; they're clean. I checked. And whenever I stand up, I kind of get lightheaded. So it makes doing things a little bit awkward. So.
Oh, hang in there.
You know, I started feeling better right about the time I started tonight, so I figured I'll try to put one more up put one of these Ender 5s together because they're not hard. I am going to have to replace the bed on it. At least the bed surface. That's not a big deal. I have extra.
So with my current mesh level, a jerk of 150 seemed to work for the Z at 200 millimeters a second for the XY.
Oof, so much jerk. What is the jerk on? Let me look at the bed specs.
Is that a lot of jerk?
It seems like a lot of jerk, but it might not be. I need a point of reference.
Well, I mean, the jerk on the X and the Y is 1,000, so.
Okay, that's not that much. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So you think I should redo this with the screws coming down into the pins after they're already installed?
What going down into the pins?
The screws, the electrical contacts.
Oh, I would just be curious to know if you had enough space.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I would think if we make it happen. I used. I mean, go right down into it. I could probably go with an M2 or an M2.5, but I just have to figure where, because you don't have a lot of you know, depth in the carriage.
I don't. Yeah, I know. It's honestly cutting it a bit close. I'm actually, if it were, oh, go ahead.
Why I put the screws in the back?
Yeah, if it were, oh, go ahead.
So it might be better, I think, maybe to wire it, put the wiring in with the screws already, and then drive the pins in into the electrical contact, and maybe filling that gap at the very back with some kind of conductive paste or something.
That would be another way to do it. Yeah, I have been in this debate between asking Wade to make a machine upgrade at that, which would totally be a different topology. And,
Yeah.
But maybe getting a second set of eyes, or just a different topology might shed some light on other ways to do it.
Different topology for what? Sorry, I kind of zoned out for a second.
The shape of the carriage.
Oh yeah.
Just like reimagining what those 6 things would look like. Still 6 pins or shoulder bolts or headless shoulder bolts.
I mean, you do it into a machined environment, but if you do that, using the pins and electrical contacts goes up because they're not electrically isolated.
Exactly.
And what that does is it removes people who have the ability to purchase and may be able to manufacture the carriage, puts them in a position to have to buy the carriage.
Yep. That's true too.
And that becomes, then you're E3D.
Oh man.
Oh, that is a compliment. But it might miss the point of the project. That's all.
Yeah, no, the point is fabricatability is part of it. Again, the word that we came up with. But also it is kind of this like open research question of like, how do we make something self-sustaining?
Yeah.
And
hi there. Hello.
And also like, how do we make it easy for people to like convert parts into a
exactly. Okay, so I'm spinning on. I don't know if you guys.
What's that?
My YouTube is not actually playing.
It could be lagging. I don't know.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, that's intriguing.
Well, since I actually have to work tomorrow, I suppose I should get off. Oh.
Work? No way. What is that?